Now that we've confirmed that our query isn't generating any errors, we can go ahead with displaying the results of our query. So let's go down to the section where we want to display the results. There it is. And we need to put a loop. So we put one row of results each time that the loop runs. So the loop begins above the div for section. So PHP block there. And the type of loop that I'm going to use this time is called a while loop. And the condition that I'm going to have in the while loop will be getting one row of results at a time. And I'm going to store that in a variable called row and assign to that result, then the arrow operator, and it's fetch underscore ASSOC. So it's fetching an associative array, which will be called row. And that will be one row of results at a time. So we need an opening curly brace for our while loop. Then we need to find the closing div tag. There it is. And that's where the closing curly brace of that loop will go. And to remind ourselves of what it is, add a comment, end of loop. So each time that the while loop runs, row will be an associative array that contains the values in each column, and the array keys will be the column names. So let's change the image, delete the image name there, and replace it with a PHP block, and it will be echo row. Then the key is image because that's the column name. The same with the alt text, delete yellow tulips, and then in a PHP block we will echo row, and that column name was called alt. The height and width of all the images is the same, so we don't need to change that. But this H3 class H4 burst of yellow was the title. So we need a PHP block to display that. And again, it's row. And the column name was title. So that's what goes in the square brackets there. And then the price from 1995. The price column contains just the figures. So we need to delete the figures and replace that with the PHP block echo, and then it's row, and in the square brackets price. So that looks pretty good to me. Let's test it. Save the page, go to the browser and refresh mix.php, and we have our results. They're one row at a time, but these results are now coming from our database, and it's working pretty nicely. Working with one row at a time is actually very easy indeed. It's just a loop repeating everything that you want. The real difficulty with this particular layout is that we need to have 4 of these items going across, and that's our next task.